people are not in favor of his choices. They are not in favor of some of the players he's called to the squad. Um, Cameroon, the first thing is that Cameroon is going to the World Cup with a completely new squad as compared to that which was present during the last World Cup out in Brazil, that's
Mhm.
2014.
After missing out on Russia, the indomitable Lions will be looking to make a proud return. With Onana in goal, Anguissa in the middle, and the man with the greatest agent in sports, Choupo-Moting at the front, this is a team with great experience at the highest level. Semi-finalists in the last AFCON, led by the drippiest manager alive, the great Rigobert Song. This is a team that is more than capable of pouncing on an opponent. In a group alongside Brazil, Serbia, and Switzerland, they've been given a tough start. But here to talk all things Cameroon with me is Evra Geraud, journalist and African football expert. Welcome to the show, Evra. How are you doing?
Oh, good afternoon. Uh, I'm doing good. It's a great day, a rainy day here in Cameroon, and I hope we'll have a great show.
Yes, we always do. We always do. I'm confident. Nice. So, with Cameroon, this is a team that a lot of people are excited about. I think the African teams in general this year are generating a lot of excitement. How was Cameroon's qualification campaign? Was it comfortable, uncomfortable? How did it go?
Cameroon's qualification campaign was very uncomfortable because if you say uncomfortable, it's an understatement. It was very uncomfortable. Um, it wasn't easy going out of a group in the same group at the group stages, going out of a group with Ivory Coast. You know, we Cameroon had to win a crucial game out here in Douala, 1 goal to 0 against
Hmm.
Ivory Coast to cross past the group stages. Then we had a heavier task to go past. That's Algeria with the very good squad they have now. And we lost. Cameroon lost the game against Algeria out here in Cameroon in Douala, 1 goal to 0. So everybody counted Cameroon out of the World Cup 2022, but on the 29th of March, it was a miracle, to tell you the least. It was a miracle. Winning Algeria out there in Blida, especially with the atmosphere, the Northern African countries,
Hmm.
the atmosphere almost chokes up the opponent, but the Cameroonians had to be brave. They had to be courageous to pick up a 2-1 victory out there in Blida. It was a national celebration here in Cameroon because it was another milestone for Cameroon, especially we're getting into our eighth World Cup and it's a record for Africa.
Well, I remember those playoffs well because I remember, especially against Ivory Coast, that huge game. I remember that huge game and the playoffs against Algeria. As you said, they were a team that I think many people thought would get to the World Cup, obviously with the likes of Mahrez, etc. And for Cameroon to show the quality and the experience to get past is really outstanding. What style of football would you say Cameroon played, and were you impressed with how they played?
We After the Africa Cup of Nations and the failure to win the Nations Cup here in Cameroon, the president of the federation or the FA, the FECAFOOT, that's Samuel Eto'o, he
Hmm.
decided to nationalize the bench, the national team bench. He brought in former captain Rigobert Song to become the coach, replacing Antonio Conceição, the Portuguese coach who led the team during the AFCON to a semi-final and a third place finish. So Cameroonians at that time were all galvanized behind Rigobert Song. But to tell we can't really picture out what Rigobert Song's play style is at the moment. It we are moving on with the 4-3-3 system that was brought in by Antonio Conceição, but changing one or two, bringing in some new players or bringing in some old players who were not being called up by Antonio Conceição to the squad. But at the moment, the Cameroon national team mostly plays with a 4-3-3 system.
Okay, and do people like what do Senegalese football fans think of Rigobert Song? Have they been impressed by him so far? Does he have support of the supporters, or are people still a bit wary of him?
they are wary of him in Cameroon. I could be positive on this point, but football fans here are very, very negative, and I hope that I'm not getting a little bit far into the show. But with Cameroon giving its 26-man squad for the World Cup in
Hmm.
Qatar this month. He's gone. If probably he was at a level of maybe 2 on 10 popularity, now he's on -10 on 10. People don't just people are not in favor of his choices. They are not in favor of some of the players he's called to the squad. And before he came in as coach of the national team, he
Hmm.
had been in charge of the under 23 squad, that's the Olympic squad. And he did not really perform well at the AFCON, that's the under 23 AFCON.
Hmm.
Then he was in charge also of, we've got a squad here, it's called the Intermediate Lions. And this
Hmm.
squad is a squad of home based players. It's a squad that they form the national team with only home-based players. So
Oh wow.
players playing
Okay.
in the Elite One here out here in Cameroon. And the friendly match Cameroon played yesterday against Jamaica as a farewell game to the World Cup. It was the only professional player in the squad was the captain Vincent Abubakar. The rest were home-based players playing
Wow.
in Elite One. I could say that's the best uh, of our home-based players. So Rigobert Song is not a popular figure as concerns. He's a popular figure as a player, but he's not a
Hmm.
popular figure as a coach. I don't think there's any Cameroonian, probably a very small number, and an almost insignificant number who believe that the Gobert Song has that tactical prowess to carry the team. But now there is one thing that we should note. They say we could look at his backroom staff.
Hmm.
He has Sebastien Minier, a Frenchman who's worked in Africa for a while. Then he's also got a good fitness coach who's worked with PSG before,
Wow.
and he brought in a new system of including some of our local coaches, not that the local coaches, some of the coaches of the junior or of other categories of the national team to work with him. So he enlarged his staff maybe from only 6 coaches now to about 8 to 10 coaches, so
Oh
that
wow.
he could have other ideas on building the squad for Qatar 2022.
Who are the players in this tournament that you think people who don't watch Cameroonian football or aren't aware of the national team, who are the players that we will know after this tournament?
Um, Cameroon. The first thing is that Cameroon is going to the World Cup with a completely new squad as compared to that which was present during the last World Cup out in Brazil. That's
Hmm.
2014. Just I was writing an article on that this morning. Just 3 players from this squad played the last World
Wow.
Cup in 2014. That's Nicolas Nkulu,
Hmm.
who back home here in Cameroon is not a popular figure among the players that were called
Okay.
up because he was called up. But another defender wasn't called up. That's Michael Gadri, who plays
Hmm.
out there in Belgium. There's also Choupo-Moting, which I've already mentioned. He was present in 2010 and 2014. Then there is the captain, Vincent Abubakar, who was top goal scorer during the AFCON. And we hope
Hmm.
that he will continue with that same form during the World Cup. But then Choupo-Moting is in a good form. We hope that he takes that form at Bayern Munich into the World Cup. But the
Hmm.
difficulty that some of these players have is that at Bayern Munich, he plays with Musiala. At Bayern Munich, he plays with Serge Gnabry. He plays with um, Sane and
Hmm.
Mane. But when it comes to the national team, it's not the same level again. I think it drops a little bit because
Yeah.
it's not the same world class players that they have around them. And I think Zambo Anguissa once made a statement. He said he plays well when the team plays well. I think he was interviewed just before the Rangers game in the Champions League.
Hmm.
So during the World Cup, we could discover some. There's Enzo Ebose, who plays for Udinese out there,
Yes.
for Udinese out there in the Serie A. There's Castelletto who plays for Nantes. He was performing also during. He has been having a good performance during the Europa League. Then there is Mbeumo, Brian Mbeumo. He plays for Brentford. This will be his uh, first World Cup. His first experience at the international level with the Indomitable Lions, and he was one player that Cameroon had to convince for a very long time. Cameroon has been has been battling with Guar nationals, trying to call up some players of Cameroonian origin who are being
Okay.
enticed by some European squads too. So then there's a young defender, Christopher Wu. He plays for Rennes in France. Uh, I'm not sure he'll be a starter during the World Cup, but I'm pretty sure that if he gets an opportunity, he will be able to perform. Then there is Swansea man, Olivier Cham. When he left and to Scotland and was playing for Celtic, he was a top figure at the time. He was even at the time tipped to play for the French national team, but it didn't work out for him because I think injuries and all. He's now at Swansea. He scores also. Um, I think those are some of the players that Cameroon that they'll discover from the Cameroon squad. But there is one player that is not really being talked about. His name is Insame. He plays for Young Boys of Ben, and this season his total goal contribution is 20 already.
Wow.
He's got already 15 goals taken from the Europa Conference League qualifiers, getting into the league season. He's the top goal scorer of the Swiss Super League at the moment. So these are the players that we would discover during the World Cup. Apart from that, we know if we were to get into the 26, we could give the qualities of each of the players. We have Martin
Yeah.
Ola who plays out there in Italy. We have Ongwed, we have Gael Ondoa, who was a surprise figure in this squad because he hasn't really had any play time for Bundesliga, Liga 2 side, Hanover. And something to note from this squad is that there are two players from the local league who were called up. That's Jerome Gom. He plays for Colombe Juja. And Swaibu Maru, who won the Ballon d'Or here in Cameroon. Swaibu Maru plays for Coton Sport Garoua, and he's the best player in our league. He's a captain of uh, the Olympic Lion side, and he's also the captain of Coton Sport Garoua. Coton Sport
Wow.
Garoua are playing, won their 17th league title this year, and they'll be participating in the group stages of the African Champions League or the CAF Champions League.
Wow. Nice. So it sounds like there's a lot of exciting players to look out for. I'll definitely be keeping an eye out for some of them. Good. So before we get to your predictions for the tournament, we have one more question. Now, you have a tough group, right? You have a very tough group with Brazil,
Yeah, a
Switzerland.
very, very tough group.
What would be a successful tournament for Cameroonian fans? What would they be happy with in terms of this World Cup?
Already, we are in trouble. We're in trouble because the president of our FA, Samuel Eto'o, said we are going to win the World Cup.
Okay, right, good. Yeah.
He said Cameroon was going to win the World Cup. But for me, personally, Cameroon having a successful World Cup means crossing the present group in which we are because it's a tough group. It's a tough group. Serbia qualified in front of or ahead of Portugal with Cristiano Ronaldo, Bruno Fernandes, and Serbia has top players. When you look at Vlahovic, when you look at Mitrovic, when you look at Tadic, uh, it's a tough squad. Then when you come over to Switzerland, they don't really have that outstanding squad. But when you bring in the individualities in the squad, you could see how much they play for and bring out a good team. Granit Xhaka, Seferovic, and their goalkeeper he's like two players in one. Jan Sommer, especially when it comes to set pieces and penalties.
Yeah.
He's an extra defender for the team. Then when you come out to five times winners Brazil, that would be the hardest. That would be the hardest nut to crack. So I hope that Cameroon in its first two games, Serbia and Switzerland, will be able to settle everything at that
Hmm.
level. So that getting into the game against Brazil, it'll be less complex and less cumbersome for Rigobert Song and his boys, because when you look at the Brazilian team, I don't need to mention their names.
Yeah.
We already know what the team is made of, and each year when Brazil goes to the World Cup, they are always tournament favorites. With
Hmm.
no matter the team that they go in with, they have even been criticized this particular World Cup for going in with a lot of attacking players. I don't think
Hmm.
Teach the coach of Brazil had any choice. So Cameroon going to this World Cup, a good World Cup for me, a good World Cup for Cameroon would be for them to cross this the group stage, taking into consideration that in 2020, in 2010, in 2002, in
Yeah.
1998, in fact, apart from 1990, Cameroon has never gone past the group stage. And
Hmm.
worse still, Cameroon was the last but one team in 2010 here in South Africa, in South Africa, and Cameroon was the last team, the 32nd nation at the 2014 World Cup. So
Hmm.
Cameroon needs to do something remarkable during this World Cup.
Very nice. Good. Well, Evra, we're going to get your predictions for the tournament in general. So, first, we're going to start with which team do you expect to lift the trophy shortly before Christmas?
Oh, for now, I'm tipping Argentina. Argentina,
Okay.
because if you look at their performance during the last Copa America, I think the whole team was playing for Messi. It's like they
Hmm.
wanted Messi to win that trophy, and this could be Messi's last World Cup.
Yeah.
He's a player. I must admit, his fitness level is out of this world. He
Hmm.
could play for the next 4 years again, but I think this could be his last World
Yeah.
Cup. So the entire Argentine team will be coming in to play and push Messi, especially to win this World Cup. He's been tipped as the best ever, but some persons actually say that he isn't the best ever because he hasn't won a World Cup. So for me, he's the best ever. We
Yeah.
don't need
Yeah. Yeah.
to,
Yeah.
when you look at the figures, you look at, I've been trying to do a lot of investigation on the older players who've played, the UN Cruyffs,
Okay.
the Maradonas. But when you look at them and you look at Messi, and he keeps performing. So I tip Argentina.
Very nice. So, which, and I think Messi, it's written for Messi to do it as well. Who do you expect to pick up the golden boot?
For the Golden Boot, it'll be a little bit cumbersome because there's one peculiarity about this World Cup. It's coming into the season.
Hmm.
It's not like the summer World Cups where players prepare for the World Cup. But each team each team have um, their star player could shine out. For example, we all know that Cristiano Ronaldo wants to shine with Portugal. France, Kylian Mbappe would like to shine with
Hmm.
France. Neymar Jr. would like to shine out with Brazil. Lionel Messi would like to shine out with Argentina. Lewandowski, who will be playing in Qatar with Poland. With
Yeah.
Poland, would like to shine out too. Even with Cameroon, why not? Eric Maxim Choupo-Moting would like to continue, or even Vincent
Yeah.
Abubakar. At the level of Senegal, we've been having some little bit of negative information, but we hope that Sadio Mane will be able to participate in the World Cup. And if Sadio
Mhm.
Mane participates, he could be able to push his squad. It's unfortunate that we'll not be able to see a player like Erling Haaland.
Yes, indeed, indeed. It would be a
We'll not
simple
be able to
answer
see a
then,
player like
definitely.
Erling Haaland during the World Cup. But these players who are performing at their various club levels that I've named, I think when they come to the World Cup, they would like to continue so that um, their various countrymen will not feel hard done by. That For
Yes.
example,
Yeah.
maybe Harry Kane is performing with Tottenham but not performing with England. No. So
Mhm.
Harry Kane is another player I'm tipping for the Golden Boot.
Very nice. Good. And who do you think will get player of the tournament? Of course, it was Luka Modric in 2018. Who do you think will be picking it up in 2022?
Uh, I think if, for example, if Argentina goes far, just like in 2018, Lionel Messi could be getting
Mhm.
a player of the tournament. Um, it's a little bit difficult and complex at the moment because as I said, we are playing in the middle of a season,
Yes. Yeah,
and
yeah, yeah.
most squads at this particular World Cup will not really dig on individualities. They will dig
Mhm.
on the collective nature of their teams. The current Ballon d'Or, Karim Benzema, he's also getting to a World Cup and he will want to prove something.
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
He wasn't selected in 2018. He missed out on winning the World Cup in France in 2018. So he would like to show off. He would like to show off what he can deliver.
Mhm.
And Neymar getting to Brazil. Brazil, he's been a little bit criticized back in Brazil because when it comes to the World Cup, they think he doesn't really deliver,
Yeah.
and winning the World Cup or standing out or winning the World Cup during for a Brazilian player, that's a standout mark.
Mhm.
Rivaldo can actually boast because he won the World Cup.
Yes.
Ronaldo can
Yeah.
talk because he won the World Cup. The Bebetos, Romarios. So for Neymar to be a standout player, also for Brazil, I think it'll be good for him to win
Yes.
the World Cup. There's Sadio Mane. Sadio Mane. If Senegal has a good performance, if Senegal gets to the quarterfinals, if he's fit also, I think Sadio Mane could be a good contender for player of the tournament.
Very nice. I hope so. I really like Sadio Mane. Nice. We're on the penultimate question. So the last one. Which team is the dark horse? Which team do you think will surprise people the most?
Oh, the dark horse. I really wish I could name one of our African teams.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Senegal, because it's a continuity. I love
Yeah.
the process that the Senegal FA has been bringing out. You know, pushing on with Aliou Cisse. He missed out on winning the AFCON in 2019. They said no problem, and he continued the process, and now he is in and won the Africa Cup of Nations here in Cameroon. Now he's getting to the World Cup. So Senegal
Mhm.
could be a dark horse
It's a
at the
popular
World
choice.
Cup. If I'm to
It's a
use,
popular choice, Senegal. I think a lot of people are excited about them.
because they've got a good squad. They've got a good squad. When
Yeah.
you look at Koulibaly, the captain, when you look at Namfali's Mendy,
Hmm.
he hasn't got a lot of playtime at Leicester City. But when you look at him play for Senegal, I mean, I was amazed during the AFCON. He's not one player that standout player who everybody will talk about. But when he's on the pitch, he does the job. And the
Hmm.
Senegalese squad on the whole, when you look at the player like Abu Diallo, he preferred to play for Senegal than to play for France. And when you look at Ghana Gay, and you look at the Ismaila Sarr, when there's Buna Sarr also, and even their goalkeeper, Edouard Mendy, it's true that he's been dropping a little bit in his form lately, but Senegal could be a dark horse. But another dark horse which I could name is Denmark. Denmark. If you look at the
Nice.
performance of Denmark during the Euro, they got to the semi-finals, and I think that they were knocked out of the semi-finals because it was England playing at Wembley. If that match was in another venue, I think Denmark could really have a case against
Hmm.
England on that day.
Nice. And Evra, finally, the last question. With your head and not your heart, where will Cameroon finish in this tournament?
That's a difficult one. Looking at Cameroon's group, but like I said earlier, I hope my hope is that Cameroon should cross at least the group stages. get at least into the second round. If we make it into the round of 16, that's good for me. That's good for
Hmm.
me, because we are already in a very tough group. I named the group and their players, so I would like to see Cameroon at least go past the group stages. That would be a
Beautiful.
good one for Cameroon in this World Cup.
Beautiful. Thank you, Evra. That was fascinating. Thank you very much. Thank you for coming onto the pod. For our viewers and listeners, if they want to keep up with you online, find your work, where can they find you?
Um, on Twitter, my name is Evra Geraud, or they could type Mbamiki tweet. I'm from a region in Cameroon, which is the Bamileke region. So it's called,
Okay.
that's why it's Mbam, that's why it's called Mbamiki tweet. Or
Nice.
it's the same name on all social media handle. My
Okay.
my YouTube account is at Evra Geraud. My Instagram account is at Evra Geraud. My Facebook page is at Evra Geraud. LinkedIn is
Easy.
it's the same name. And in the next few weeks, because we are working on a project to create something for our home league, something
Oh,
to
wow.
promote our
Nice.
home league. So I'll be coming up with a website that will have the same name, Evra Giro.
Very nice. I'm excited. Perfect. Thank you for coming on to the show. Viewers and listeners, well, viewers, you will see the like and subscribe button along here. Please hit both of those. And please watch the rest of our World Cup preview videos. We are aiming for all 32 nations. You'll be able to see if we've done it or not. And we will see you next time. Thank you, Evra.